All right, so you wanted to know more about investing in gold. You sent over the ultimate guide to investing in gold, and
Uh,
it's amazing like how long gold has been this symbol of
yeah,
wealth and security
it's true.
for like forever.
It's not just an investment.
Right.
It's woven into human history, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Think about all the myths and legends
Yeah.
around gold.
It really is like this ultimate safety net. But is it really like is that reputation as an inflation hedge and a safe haven, is that really true? And what does that even mean for like someone like you
Right.
who's thinking about investing?
Well, the guide explains that gold tends to hold its value,
Okay.
sometimes even increase when traditional markets are struggling.
Interesting.
It's like this alternative world of value
Okay.
that doesn't necessarily play by the same rules as stocks and bonds.
So if the value of like the dollar drops,
Yeah,
gold could potentially help balance things out.
exactly.
That's pretty cool.
The guide uses the term low correlation to describe this. Basically, gold often moves in the opposite direction of stocks and bonds,
Okay.
which can be a really good thing for your portfolio.
So it's not just about making a ton of money with gold.
Right.
It's about like adding a layer of protection to your investments.
Yeah, like having a diversified team of players,
Yeah.
each with their own strengths.
I like that analogy. But this guide doesn't sugarcoat things.
Right.
Like it talks about some downsides too.
It's important to be aware of those. Unlike stocks that might pay dividends,
Right.
gold doesn't generate passive income.
Okay.
And if you're holding physical gold, you've got to think about storage costs
Yeah, that's true.
and security.
It's not just like stashing cash under your mattress.
No.
You'd need a safe, maybe even a vault.
Could? Yeah, it does.
It has that.
And then there are things like price fluctuations
Oh, yeah, of course.
and potential government regulations that can impact the gold market.
So how do you like weigh all this? How do you figure out if investing in gold is right for you?
That's where understanding the different ways to invest in gold becomes crucial.
Oh, okay.
And the guide does a good job of breaking down those options.
Let's get into that.
Okay.
First up, physical gold. I mean, it's kind of romantic, isn't it?
Yeah.
The idea of holding a gold bar in your hand,
Sure.
this tangible piece of
There's definitely an appeal to that.
wealth.
To
Yes.
that tangibility. But the guide emphasizes the importance of being practical too.
Okay.
You've got to consider what form of physical gold is right for you. Bars, bullion, coins.
Wow.
There are even specific types of coins like Krugerrands, eagles, and maple leafs that some investors favor.
So there's like a whole world of physical gold options. But wouldn't storage be like a major concern?
Absolutely.
I mean, you wouldn't want to just leave a gold bar lying around.
The guide is very clear about that.
Right.
Security is paramount.
Yeah.
And secure storage comes with a cost.
Yeah.
You also have to be careful about where you buy your gold from.
Okay.
Counterfeits are out there.
Oh, wow.
And you don't want to end up with fool's gold.
Good point. It's not as simple as like walking into a store and
Right.
buying a gold bar.
Right.
There's a lot of due diligence. What if you're not ready to commit to like Fort Knox level security? Are there ways to invest in gold without actually owning
Definitely.
physical gold?
The guide talks about gold ETFs
Okay.
or exchange-traded funds. These are a much more accessible way to invest in gold without having to worry about storing it yourself.
So it's like investing in the idea of gold.
Yeah, you're betting on the price of gold going up,
Yeah.
but you don't actually have a gold bar in your safe.
Exactly.
It's like buying shares of a company that tracks the price of gold.
Okay.
The guide mentions popular ones like SPDR Gold Shares, iShares Gold Trust, and Aberdeen Standard Physical Swiss Gold Shares. These ETFs are traded on stock exchanges, making them easy to buy and sell.
That sounds a lot simpler than dealing with physical gold. But are there any drawbacks?
Well, the main one is that you don't technically own the physical gold.
Okay.
You're relying on the ETF provider to manage those assets for you.
So you're placing trust in the ETF provider.
Right.
That makes sense. Now, what about gold mining stocks? Is that like investing in the companies that actually dig up the gold?
It's an indirect way to invest in gold. You're essentially betting on the success of these companies.
Okay.
The guide highlights some major players like Barrick Gold, Newmark Corporation, and AngloGold Ashanti, as well as some emerging mining companies like First Majestic Silver and Yamana Gold.
Emerging companies, huh? Sounds a bit risky, but potentially very rewarding. How would someone like me, not exactly a Wall Street whiz,
Right.
assess the potential of these companies?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's something the guide touches on. You got to look beyond just the hype. Factors like the company's track record, its management team,
Okay.
the location of its mines, the costs of extraction, and even environmental regulations
Wow.
can all play a role in a mining company's success.
So it's not just about finding a company that's sitting on a mountain of gold.
Right.
There's a lot more nuance to it.
There is. And that's why investing in mining stocks can be more volatile than other forms of gold investment.
Okay.
The rewards can be higher,
Yeah,
but so are the risks.
gotcha. All right, last one. Futures and options. The guide mentions these briefly, but they sound pretty complex.
They are. These are more for seasoned investors
Okay.
who have a deep understanding of financial markets, basically futures and options contracts. Let you speculate on the future price of gold.
So you're not actually buying gold, you're betting on where the price will go.
Exactly. It's like making a prediction about the gold market.
Okay.
If you're right, you can make a lot of money. But if you're wrong,
You could lose big. Sounds like a high-stakes game.
definitely not for the casual investor.
Maybe not for the casual investor. Well, we've covered a lot of ground here. Physical gold ETFs, mining stocks, futures and options.
We certainly have.
It's amazing how many different ways there are to invest in this one shiny metal.
And we haven't even touched on the trends shaping the gold market.
Oh, right.
That's a whole other conversation.
All right, well, stay tuned, folks. We're just getting warmed up. Okay, so we've explored like all these different ways to invest in gold. But what about the bigger picture? Like what's happening in the gold market itself that might influence our decisions?
Well, the guide dives into some fascinating trends
Okay.
that are shaping the future of gold.
Mm.
One of the big ones is the rising demand from emerging economies, like China and India.
Okay.
These countries have a cultural affinity for gold. And as their economies grow,
Right.
so does their appetite for gold as an investment.
That makes sense. As people gain more wealth, they want to protect it.
Exactly.
And gold has always been seen as like a reliable store of value.
The guide points out that gold is seen as a hedge against inflation, especially in countries with a history of currency instability. If you're worried about your local currency losing value,
Okay.
gold can offer a sense of security.
So it's not just about making a profit.
Right.
It's about preserving your wealth in like uncertain times. It's interesting how gold seems to transcend borders
Yeah.
and economic cycles.
It really does. And then there's the impact of monetary policy on the gold market.
Oh, yeah.
When central banks around the world start messing with interest rates or printing more money, it can create a lot of uncertainty.
And uncertainty usually sends people running towards gold, right?
It often does. The guide explains that gold is seen as a safe haven asset
Okay.
in times of economic turmoil. It's like that steady rock in a stormy sea.
Gotcha. I'm starting to see why gold has held its value for so long. It's like this ancient wisdom that still applies in the modern world. But the world is becoming increasingly digital, so how does gold fit into that?
That's a really interesting question. The guide actually touches on the rise of digital gold,
Okay.
which is fascinating.
Wait, so you can have digital gold now?
Yeah.
How does that even work?
It's kind of like a digital representation of physical gold,
Okay.
backed by the security and transparency of the blockchain. Think of it like a digital certificate.
Right.
That represents ownership of a specific amount of gold, held in a vault somewhere.
So you get the benefits of owning gold without having to worry about storage
Right.
or security. That's pretty cool.
It is, and it makes gold more accessible to a wider range of investors. You don't need a fortune to get started.
So even in the digital age, gold is finding new ways to stay relevant. It's pretty impressive. But with all these trends and investment options, what are the key takeaways from the guide? What's like the big picture advice?
The guide emphasizes the importance of diversification.
Okay.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket, as they say.
Right.
Spread your investments across different asset classes,
Hmm.
including gold, to create a more balanced and resilient portfolio.
That makes sense. You wouldn't want your entire financial future riding on the price of gold,
Yeah.
no matter how much you believe in it.
The guide also stresses the importance of doing your research and understanding the risks involved
Okay.
before you invest in anything, especially gold.
So don't just jump on the bandwagon because everyone else is doing it.
Absolutely.
Make informed decisions based on your own, like, individual circumstances.
And if you're not sure where to start, the guide recommends consulting with a financial advisor
Okay.
who can help you develop a personalized investment strategy.
That's always good advice. It's like having a trusted guide to help you navigate the complexities of the financial world. Okay, so we've talked about the allure of gold, the different ways to invest, and the trends shaping the market. But the big question remains, is gold a good investment?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
And like with any investment, there's no easy answer. It depends on a variety of factors, including your risk tolerance, your investment goals, and your overall financial situation.
So it's not a guaranteed path to riches.
Definitely not. But as this guide highlights, gold has a long and fascinating history. As a store of value, a hedge against inflation, and a safe haven asset, it's something that has captivated humanity for centuries, and its allure shows no signs of fading.
That's for sure. But before we wrap up, the guide leaves us with a thought-provoking question to ponder.
Okay.
Ready for this?
Hit me with it.
Considering all these trends we've discussed, the rising demand from emerging markets, the impact of monetary policy, the rise of digital gold, how do you think gold's role in the global economy will evolve in the coming years? Will it continue to hold its shine as a safe haven asset, or will something else take its place?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with. The future of gold is uncertain, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be an interesting journey to watch.
All right, welcome back for the final part of our gold investing deep dive. I hope you're ready for the final stretch here. We've covered a lot,
We certainly have.
from the history of gold to the intricacies of futures contracts.
A lot of different facets.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to explore all these different angles. But before we wrap up, let's bring it back to you, the listener. What are the key takeaways you should keep in mind if you're considering adding some gold to your investment portfolio?
Well, as we've discussed, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to gold investing. The best way to invest depends entirely on your individual goals, risk tolerance, and financial situation.
It's like choosing the right tool for the job.
Exactly.
You wouldn't use a hammer to tighten a screw.
Right.
So if you're looking for a tangible asset with a long history of value preservation, and you're comfortable with the security considerations, physical gold might be a good fit.
But if you prefer the ease and liquidity
Hmm.
of the stock market, gold ETFs could be a better option.
And if you're feeling a bit more adventurous and you're willing to accept higher risk for the potential of higher returns, gold mining stocks might be worth exploring.
Just remember to do your due diligence and understand the complexities of the mining industry
Right.
before you dive in.
Absolutely. And of course, for those seasoned investors who really know their way around the market, futures and options contracts offer a way to leverage your expertise for potentially significant gains, but with equally significant risks.
It's all about choosing the path that aligns with your own individual investment philosophy.
Well said. This whole deep dive was based on The Ultimate Guide to Investing in Gold, which provided a great framework for our discussion. But remember, this is just the beginning of your gold investing journey.
There's a whole world of information out there waiting to be discovered. Don't be afraid to do your own research, explore different perspectives, and maybe even seek guidance from a financial advisor.
Excellent advice. And as you continue to explore the world of gold investing, keep that thought-provoking question from the guide in mind. How will gold's role in the global economy evolve in the coming years?
Right.
What does the future hold for this ancient yet ever-evolving asset?
It's a fascinating question with no easy answers, but that's what makes this whole journey so intriguing.
Absolutely. We hope this deep dive has given you a solid foundation to build upon as you navigate the exciting world of gold investing.
Happy investing.
And until next time, keep seeking knowledge and diving deep.